Welcome. In this video, we're going to turn a NotebookLM infographic into an interactive website. If you already know how to create a NotebookLM notebook and you have a specific notebook, you first want to lay out the subject into one document. You can do that with prompt engineering here in this area. Now, it's a good idea to use Gemini in order to generate this prompt. So we're going to come to Gemini and we're going to write a prompt. And we're going to write the prompt for NotebookLM. We're then going to click enter. We're going to use this master prompt from Gemini. We're going to paste the prompt in. We're going to generate the one source that synthesizes all of the information first into the document that we want for this specific time. We're then going to save the document created to a note. We're then going to take the same document, we're going to export it to Google Docs. What we want to do in Gemini is we want to add the file from our drive, and we're going to add in the file. We're then going to click Insert. We're then going to turn on the image creation. And what we want to do is to create an infographic image. So the first thing we want to do is to create an infographic. We're going to allow Gemini to create the infographic. Our infographic is now complete. You can now download the infographic if everything you see on that infographic is correct. Assuming with this infographic that everything is correct, we're going to turn off Create Image. We will then turn on Canvas. We will then write in a prompt, and what we want Gemini to do is to take this infographic to turn it into a clickable web application. We're going to attach a relevant notebook. We're going to attach a relevant document. Since we have verified that Canvas is open and that we have the information that we want inside of the website or web application, we're going to submit and allow Gemini to undertake the process. Gemini will then start the coding process. Gemini created a React application. What we really need is an HTML application that will work on the web as well as offline. We will submit our query. And Gemini then begins to convert the document over to an HTML document. And once the document is complete, we can test the document in our favorite HTML editor. The document is now complete. We can now copy it in order to test it in our favorite HTML editor. We're going to open up our favorite HTML editor. We're going to paste in our code. And the application is now complete. We can now save this HTML document. Once the document is now saved, we can then close out of our favorite HTML editor. We can click on the new HTML document. And what you will see is that we have a rendition of the infographic. When the individual clicks on an element, they will get an explanation that we have generated from our NotebookLM notebook. So as you can see, you can take an infographic, create it from your NotebookLM notebook, and you can turn it into an interactive website or web application. This application works both online and offline. If you know more about web development, you can do more with this. However, these steps do not require code. They only require that you be able to tell the AI exactly what you want. Now that you have verified that the application is working using this HTML file, we can put this entire file on a web server. And we can do that by going to sites.google.com. And so we will visit sites.google.com. Sites.google.com is free to operate. We're going to click on blank site. This is not a full-blown tutorial on sites.google. However, we're going to go to the pages area. We're going to create a new page. We're going to give the page a title. Once we do that, we will then click the Insert button. We will then click the embed code. And we're going to take all of the embed code and we're going to place it inside of this element. So we're going to come into get our code from Canvas. We're going to copy it and we're going to place the code here inside of sites.google. We will then click next. We will then insert the code. We're now going to close out of the canvas. We're now going to expand the view of the application. And so now the application is visible. We're going to expand it. And we're going to expand it more so that it appears. So now we now have our site that is going to be visible. We're now going to publish this page. We want to give a web address for the site. We can give one. If we don't want the search engines to index, we can indicate that. We can then click publish. And our site is now published. We can click this button in order to view the site. And the site is now live on the web. We can now do is we can test the site and make sure it still works just as it does on our desktop. So we can take any infographic and turn it into an interactive web app that works offline or an interactive website that works online. Again, this is not a full-blown tutorial on how to use Google Sites. If this is going to be the only thing that you're going to use the site for, you can go to this element. You can make this site the home page, and then you can then get rid of the home page and delete it. Then your site will be dedicated to this interactive website. If you are delivering your business course content in a site like Google Classroom, this is the only way to deliver it. For example, if you were to go into the classwork and you were to create either an assignment, quiz assignment, question, material, what you'll notice here is that there's a WYSIWYG editor, but there really is no place for you to put HTML code where the individuals who are using your site are going to see it. There is a link where you can place in the link to your site. So we can get the entire link. We can add it to our element. And the link will then be available to the individuals inside of your Google Classroom. If you are a user of Google's free blogging tool, Blogger, you may notice that if you go to the WYSIWYG editor inside of a Blogger post, you will no longer see the HTML tags for you to be able to paste in your HTML code for your interactive website to work. And the same thing is true for pages. The HTML code tags are no longer visible. There are gadgets available on the sidebar. However, these elements are not friendly to the interactive site. The underlying content for the site is built on our existing expertise within our NotebookLM notebook. We did use the notebook to create explanations for the site as well as the infographic. Okay, so thanks, and I will see you in another video.